What we want to understand is how 2015 will pan out, what are the key takeaways from 2014, and for that we have the creme de la creme of Deutsche Bank India joining us here. As we told you, Ravneet Gill, the CEO, Sanjay Agarwal, Executive Chairman of Corporate Finance, and Prateek Gupta, Head of Equities at Deutsche Bank, are joining us in the studio. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Ravneet, let me start with you. You must have done whirlwind tours of FII investors. What is the sense you're getting? We got this massive $1.5 billion outflow in December, and the global attitude towards equities in the past 2 weeks has been somewhat negative. Do you think we will get good flows in 2015 at all? Something like even that 16 billion we got last year?
So I would break that up into a couple of different points, Lata. To begin with, I think if you look at the emerging markets world, India looks very differentiated at this point in time. I think most of our economic metrics are looking much better, much stronger. The fact that commodity prices have come off, crude has come off, I think is a big positive as far as India is concerned. And then, of course, don't forget that after 3 decades we have a majority government at the center with a very decisive leader, and I think that's what investors were looking at. So my own sense is that regardless of what happens, and even if there was a reversal of flows from emerging markets, India would be spared or definitely treated very favorably. So that is number one. Number two is, if you look at India broadly speaking, over the last couple of I would say a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades, India has been very services focused. Now that in many ways then fences off the strategic investors. Now with this government's focus on manufacturing and infrastructure and this whole concept of ease of doing business, I think you will also see the overlay of the strategic investors coming in besides the financial investors. Add to that the earnings growth that we expect in India of 15 to 16%. I think all of it gives India a lot of tailwind, and we think that the flows that you've seen in the past could pretty much get bettered this year. So yes, our view on foreign flows into India, both strategic and financial, is very positive.
Okay, that's a good point to start off with. Gentlemen, good morning and Happy New Year to all three of you. Prateek, I want to come to you to take that point forward about the investors. In fact, last year your theme was a return of the domestic investor, and we saw that play out quite beautifully. What is your theme of 2015?
Well, that is definitely one of the big themes for this year, and which is why from an investor perspective, even if for whatever reason you don't get the same increase in FI investments, you may still see the markets going up because of the return of the domestic equity investor. Keep in mind, as Lata just mentioned, you had $16 billion of FI investments last year, which was actually lower than the FI investment in the previous year. So despite the big BJP victory, despite a very pro-business government, we actually had lower FI investment last year, and yet the market went up. That's one of the reasons was because of the very strong flows into the domestic equity mutual funds, which we think is a trend which will pick up even further pace in the coming year 2015, especially as the outlook for some of the other asset classes like say a property or gold or even FMPs for that matter doesn't look as attractive as we think it does for equities. So that's point one in terms of the return of domestic investors. And also, why will domestic investors come back? Apart from the better alternatives for versus other asset classes, just to carry on from what Ravneet said, we think the outlook for India is actually very, very positive. As we've mentioned in our strategy report, we have a Sensex target of 33,000. This is up roughly about a 20% upside from the current levels, and this we think is driven by various factors such as growth is going to be much better this year. The economy is on the mend. In fact, there are expectations that there will be an RBI rate cut. Deutsche Bank's house view is for 100 basis points worth of rate cuts this year, which would make India one of the few emerging markets globally where you will see a rate cut. And you've got potential for a sovereign rating upgrade as well sometime in the next 12 to 18 months. So you put that in context, India starts to look very, very attractive once again this year amongst all the major emerging markets this year. So that's another reason why we think both FI as well as domestic flows into equities will remain very strong this year.
Okay, the case is made for a greater equity market, but Sanjay, could that, at least in the first quarter, get somewhat smothered by this huge divestment program? The FM was with us on Friday, and he said that he very much sticks with that target. Would not that mean taking away from monies that would otherwise have come to the secondary market?
Yeah, there's some amount of cannibalism that can happen, but I think people have factored this into their portfolio allocations, right? The big disinvestment program is well publicized. People actually know the companies that are going to come to market. So people have provided for those monies that are going to come in. And on the other side, we'll see on the private sector that's going to raise capital is essentially the banking companies that are going to raise capital, right? None of the large infrastructure companies are actually headed to the equity capital markets anytime near term. And then there's a whole plethora of small entrepreneurship that's happening where people are doing IPO, trying to do IPOs of the $100 to $200 million side. That really doesn't alter the situation in any which way. So I think there's enough pool of capital for the government to meet its disinvestment target and not crowd out the other private sector.
So pre-budget, fresh all-time highs, very much still there.
Well, I would defer that to Prateek. Prateek's the right guy.
So it's quite possible, yeah.
Okay, actually on the point that Prateek spoke about rate cuts, you gave the overall, I think 2015 view is 100 basis points, but Ravneet, when is the first cut? It was January.
So I think, the next policy in Feb. So potentially you could see it at that point in time, although in the last quarter the governor did say that, it could be an off-cycle cut as well. Is there a case for a cut now? I think if you look at the macros, overall macros, inflation down, commodity prices down, crude down, and the fact that, Indian industry could do with, cheaper cost of capital, I think the case has been made. And we think, that cut will happen sooner than later. Now, the question really is that, will 50 basis points be transformational? I think the important issue here is signaling that, we move from a consolidation phase now into a growth phase. And I think given that, again, we are a very, sentiment-driven economy, I think that signaling will have a very big positive impact.
Okay. Sanjay, by the way, Deutsche Bank has topped the league table for the equity cash management deals or other capital management market deals in 2014. So that was a big positive. Sanjay, in 2014, the theme was domestic consolidation. So we saw the Sun Pharma Ranbaxy deal, the Kotak ING deal, the JP Ultratech deal as well. What do you think could be the theme in 2015 as far as these deals are concerned?
I think domestic consolidation is going to play out still. Whole of, I think, this current year, you're going to see more domestic consolidation than cross-border acquisitions into India. And that's largely because most of the consolidation that needs to happen is in the infrastructure side, power.
Will it happen?
So you see some noises around that, right? Some deals have happened, some deals are likely to get talked about. Most of them are, the cash flows of these projects are broken, so they need to go from the weaker hands into the stronger hands. People who can inject new equity into these businesses. So some of that consolidation, I think, is going to continue to play out. And the other, with this whole insurance FDI increase going to happen, I think some announcement of foreigners trying to increase their ownership in their Indian joint ventures is going to happen. Our ballpark estimate is that is going to allow for around $4 to $5 billion of new FDI money coming into India once this whole insurance thing gets done.
Your theme was that public investment will be one of the big themes for 2015, Prateek. How do you play that theme? Are you trying to say that there is no capex coming, private sector is not investing? If it is going to be government investment, then, how does a stock market investor approach this? Take a positive punt on public sector companies?
No, not necessarily. This is really a driver for the economy as a whole, what we're calling that in the absence of, or rather not the absence, rather the delay in the private sector capex pickup. So in the meantime, we expect the government to step in, whether it's central government, state government, or PSUs. And I think one thing to keep in mind is this commodity price decline windfall, which the government of India is going to benefit, $10, $20, $30 billion, depending on where you, what's the forecast of the oil price. That dividend we expect to be used for public sector capex. Some of it will go back in terms of correcting the fisc, but some of it will be directed towards stepping up growth, whether it's investments in infrastructure, whether it's to give a boost for the Make in India program, which in turn should translate into higher economic growth for the country, therefore higher corporate earnings. Now, how do you play it? Really, it's our view is therefore you play domestic cyclicals. Now, domestic cyclicals, typically the banks are the best way to play these, which is why we have a very heavy weight in financials, whether it's private banks, whether it's NBFCs, even select PSU banks. So it's not only PSU banks or only private banks. It really, then after that it gets into the stock specific valuations and so on. But I think as a theme, we are expecting that government-led capex is going to take the economy forward while we're still waiting for the private sector capex recovery. And the way to play that is through domestic cyclicals.
Ravneet, you want to add to it? Also, because if that is the case, will the markets take kindly if the fiscal deficit target is relaxed a bit, 3.8% instead of 3.6% for next year?
I think as Prateek rightly said, government spending is going to be the key in terms of kickstarting the economy. So it's not just a question of isolating the public sector companies as the potential buys. So just to put that into context, the way we see it, if you see the road sector, we see NHAI, now taking on the responsibility for building roads on an EPC basis rather than, depending on the PPP model. Similarly, on the power side, we see NTPC taking the leadership. Now, the question really is that why are they taking the leadership? They're taking the leadership because currently, the leverage in corporate India is high. They've been boozed with respect to everything that's happened on the macros over the last couple of years. So till they're able to get rid of the, leverage and they are able to, again, have stronger balance sheets, spending from them is going to be a little more muted. But what happens is that if you're building more roads and, the power situation improves, then industry as a whole, benefits. So I think, like Prateek said, that the benefits are going to be more secular. And then you pick up your cyclicals in terms of, which sector is, playing out in which fashion. So we think that, this is actually a very good move on the part of the government. And the quickest way actually to kickstart the economy really would be for public spending to increase.
Okay, Ravneet, how do Indian investors really wade through the global volatility? Because in the past couple of days, global investors are concerned about the possibilities of deflation. We got it with the average wage growth, which was weak in the US because of the way commodity prices are falling, etc. How does an Indian investor or an emerging market investor deal with that?
So again, I think if you look at it, look at the price of crude, for instance. So one is that's great news for India, given it's the largest part of our import bill. But equally, what is it signaling? It's signaling that there's not enough growth happening globally. Yeah. So we keep seeing Europe faltering from time to time. US seems to be on a steadier growth path. How does the Indian investor look at it? The Indian investor looks at it from the point of view, not so much in terms of the direct economic impact it has on the country, but more from the point of view of the fact that, a lot of the investment that drives stock markets in India is foreign investment. And when these foreign investors make their allocations, they need to look at the global situation and they need to pull back, they need to recalibrate their allocations based in terms of what's happening in various global markets. So to that extent, I think, the Indian investor gets impacted because he knows that, a lot of the fortunes of the markets, of the stock markets are, linked to what the foreign investors are doing.
So do you see lower allocations into emerging markets?
So like I said right at the beginning, I think India will be spared for a change, unlike what happened last year. Even if, there is lesser outflow, inflows into the emerging markets, I think India will be treated more kindly.
Okay. I'm being warned that we don't have too much time. You gave us a level for the rupee. What do you think the 10-year will do, since 100 basis is your expectation?
Sorry, what was the question, Lata?
10-year. What will be the 10-year at in terms of yield? 6 months?
Well, our expectation is you'll see a decline in 10-year bonds largely in line with our RBI rate cut, although perhaps not as much, but definitely on the way down. We do expect 10-year bond yields will be lower than where they are right now, a year from now. But I think if I can just also add quickly to what Ravneet was mentioning earlier in your question regarding the outlook, regarding the concerns on the Eurozone. One thing to keep in mind is that this year you will still see another $1 trillion worth of monetary expansion, especially by the ECB and the BOE and the Bank of Japan. To put that in context, we had about $7 trillion worth of QE from the various central banks around the world since 2007 till last year. This year, another $1 trillion. So to that extent, the global central banks do have a lot of firepower to deal with the various issues, whether it's the Greece election or further issues in the Eurozone. So we are, I think, not as concerned. And as Ravneet mentioned, international investors will make a differentiate between various emerging markets, India on one side versus, say, perhaps a lot of the oil-producing countries on the other hand, for example.
Okay. Ravneet, what are the chances of a rating upgrade? Is that factored in all your various calculations?
So is it yet factored in terms of our calculations? The answer to that is peripherally yes, but is it a central theme in terms of our outlook? The answer is no. So we work very closely with the rating agencies. We speak a lot to them with respect to what's happening with India. We believe that if we can stick to the fiscal discipline which the government has shown and which was so evident in the previous budget, and all the other measures that we're seeing, whether it's on GST, whether it's on land acquisition, in terms of the insurance bill, or for that matter, what's happening in the power sector. We think that if the government of India can continue to show the sustained intent with respect to addressing the supply side constraints, a rating upgrade is not very far off. That's our view.
That's very good to hear. Sanjay, what about the primary markets? I mean, are you expecting any kind of pickup in 2015? Are there lots of issues that are lined up?
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, the amount of entrepreneurship that's happening in the mid-cap space, the people are starting up, people who access the markets with 10 to 20, 100 to $200 million type IPOs, that's a whole slew of pipeline that's getting built up. The other space that we haven't spoken about is e-commerce. And the whole Digital India initiative is feeding off that, and that's kind of has a life of its own. So I don't see them coming to the primary market, but a lot of private capital is available for these companies, like you've seen.
They won't come to the private market?
Maybe not this year, but there's so much private capital that's available that you can get attractive valuations even in the private market. So you don't have
1/40th of Alibaba will be here.
Yeah, so you don't really have to focus on the discipline that's required to be a publicly listed company. You can still build your businesses with private capital and then wait for some time to come to the public space.
Okay, why don't we conclude with some advice and gifts for New Year gifts for our investing audience. You said public is a theme and public sector is a theme. You spoke about perhaps even cement, those that will feed off NHAI. Any other, your top sectorals?
Well, I think, like I said, financials, some select industrials which will benefit from the whole initiative towards the government-driven capex, cement, steel. Also, I would say you should be cautious or sectors which will not perform as well. For example, telecoms, consumer staples, power utilities. These are sectors where we think on a relative basis, when you have the entire global community as well as the domestic investor community looking to play this acceleration in India's economic growth, we think you should go more for the domestic cyclicals, which we think will do much better than some of these others.
IT?
IT, not as much, although we do expect the rupee to depreciate slightly, but given the perspective that we do expect the domestic cyclicals to do much better, we think on a relative basis, IT will not do as well.
All right, gentlemen, lots of questions, but we are short on time. Ravneet, Sanjay, Prateek, we appreciate you taking time out for us. Thank you very much for joining us and enriching this conversation for our viewers.
Very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.